Welcome to the DamnedSaint, Season 2, Episode 5, Season Finale. I awoke once again, this time in a comfortable chair, in spite of having my hands once again tied behind my back. This time they were far more secure. Before me stood the short, funny-looking guy with the even funnier-looking voice from before. And this is what he told me. You see, Matthew, that is no ordinary crystal ball. That crystal was designed in another dimension, and it took great pains to get it into this realm. Saint Simon first traveled through the ether to begin its inception, and after many, what we call lifetimes, he was able to bring it forth. It has taken me many years to track down where the map was hidden. That fool Fugit ruined my plans, but it is mine now. You can either die here, or go with us to the other realms and see my reign as I conquer all who stand before me. I interrupted his tangent. For such a power-hungry guy, I'm not sure you're built for such power. I don't believe you deserve control of 1 or 5 layers of reality, or even a 5-layer burrito for that matter, of here, there, or any other dimensions, or whatever it is you're after, buddy. You, too, are a fool, Matthew, but I want you to witness my rise to power, and to be my scribe for the next generations of aeons to come. And they will know who I was for all eternity. There would be no Alexander the Great without a historian. I will spare your life to chronicle mine. Well, if that's my only option, let's get on with it then.
This comes to you from the Journal of Minister Matthew Forbes, the adventures of a struggling artist mixed into the world of mysticism and dark arts. Aside from battling my inner demons, I find myself matching wits with demonic and angelic forces. What can I say? You don't choose the mystic arts, it chooses you. So if you see me in the cemetery, just know I'm trying to save a soul, and next time it might be you. Open the gates of your mind, the damned saint has arrived.
Within a few minutes, this nutjob began to conjure up the crystal's portals. By the way, if I'm going to be writing about you, I should at least know your name, I said. I am Raymond, named from the saint of the falsely accused. The crimes I have committed were in service of a higher power. Yeah, well, I could argue that, but I'm good with staying alive. This was the last thing I said as we dropped into the portal and we were off into the other dimensions, the unknown. What we didn't know is that at this exact time, my friend Ezekiel had taken off to find a friend of his who could help us, to help me escape and destroy the crystal. That was the only chance we had left. The person Ezekiel wanted to see is Adelaide. She is a courageous woman who is connected to the same spiritual affiliation as Ezekiel. She possesses intense psychic abilities, and upon finding her, he asked for her assistance. This is a lot to ask because it's not a simple task. First, she has to put herself into a state of trance to access the realm where the damned saint, in particular my daimon, that is usually spelled D-A-I-M-O-N, similar to the Herman Hesse novel, actually. So the damned saint's daemon, the essence, the guardian of my spiritual self resides inside that realm where she has to travel. Now, unlike the common daemon of, say, a river or a demonic entity that possesses others, we all have in the spirit realm our own daemon, sort of what we also call a guardian angel. That's the prettier term that's been associated, but the only hope I have to escape is if this daemon can be summoned to help find me in the other realms before it's too late. There really isn't much time more for me to explain. You could probably Google what the hell these terms mean, but the mysteries and powers of the daemon are, well, they're unimaginable and have never fully been explored. We can only pray it's powerful enough to make the rescue. And now, back in my vision of things, I found myself alongside Raymond and his two cronies. We were wandering through a foreign landscape. It was difficult to tell if I was physical or akin to being in a dream. Suddenly, I noticed something out of the corner of my sight. It was a shimmering shadow, and it spoke to me telepathically. "Hello, Matthew. I am Phaedrus, and I am your daemon in the spirit realm. I will do all I can to break you free of this infernal creature who dares to conquer our realms. When you reach the realm of the dead, that will be our window of time. You will be greeted by people you knew who have passed on. Your friend, Robert Malik, will be there. He will help guide you to imprison these traitors, and he will then escort you to a portal where you can return back to your life on Earth. Be patient now, and you will soon be freed." And back to Ezekiel and Adelaide. She confirms the contact of the daemon and me. There will be a friend waiting for him there in the land of the dead, she says. Now, all we can do is wait and hope this works. Meanwhile, Raymond was trying his hardest to keep pushing the powers of the crystal, but he was struggling. I would be sure to leave that part out of the chronicle to save his embarrassment. Just kidding. I don't think even my expert writing skills can save this jackass. We began our push into the realm of the dead. There were many different types of souls all moving about. Some seemed empty, others seemed almost angelic. I was caught on the arm by a high-spirited, middle-aged man. It was Bob Malik. He was friends with my family for years. He always shared great stories, and he would talk on philosophy and science and spirituality. I considered him like a teacher to me. He greeted me with enthusiasm. Well, it was more of a look than actual words, but I knew we didn't have much time left. Bob was able to trap the two thugs that hung by the sides of Raymond, but Ray was able to escape. It was like Doctor Strange moving through the mirror realm, but he wasn't that good. And it wasn't, the cinematography wasn't as enticing. We were able to catch up to him since around here there isn't many places to hide. He was willing to let the entire power of the crystal consume him, and with that, he could also risk trapping me here as well. We began to fight and struggle, but it's not a solid world like ours that we're used to. It's similar to fighting in a dream. You're moving in slow motion and you feel stuck and almost powerless, like you're trying to punch in a wave of water. We struggled for the crystal, and I was able to break it free from his hand. Luckily, it was a ball, after all, and it slowly, like moving through liquid, it rolled to the feet of Bob, and he picked it up and held it in the air, and with a smile, he squeezed the ball in his hand, and it began to light up. The light rays began to brighten, and soon it was impossible to see. For a split second, it was as if I'd gone blind. But just as quickly, my sight returned and the crystal was gone. His hand was empty. Bob approached, or I should say, more or less floated toward Raymond and I. Ray was bewildered and tried to scramble, but extending his hand, Bob pointed at him and was able to cast a light around him that captured him up and into the air. He was flailing about and trying to escape, but the light prison was too strong. If he wasn't so encumbered, I wanted to punch him right in the face, crush a cheekbone, maybe if I swing hard enough, but he was going to get what he deserved soon enough anyways. Bob, with a strange look on his face, he looked back at me. As I thanked him for his help, there was part of his soul there, but I could see a shimmering inside, a betwixtment of light. My daemon had been operating through Bob the whole time. I finally see an old family friend, and he's part daemon. So much for catching up with old friends. Bob, my daemon, pointed out a portal that began to open. That was behind me. It was an entrance back into my realm. Luckily, I wasn't gonna have to be birthed out like the last time I came from some other realm and into the earth. I guess that's like a pregnancy, birth kind of reference or something. But this time I get a kind of a shortcut, I guess, so I got lucky again. Because the portal was being channeled through the young lady Adelaide, I walked through the portal and collapsed onto the floor of Adelaide's studio apartment. Looking around trying to get my bearings, I was grateful to see the familiar and comforting face of Ezekiel beside her, but I had no idea who she was. I gained some composure, stretched a wrinkle out of my shirt, and said, "Hi, I'm Matt Forbes, but you might know me as the DamnedSaint." Never heard of you before, sorry, but it's nice to meet you," she said. Well, I guess this is good of a start to any, because I would end up becoming very familiar with Adelaide in the coming weeks. We will soon find out. But after all the fussing and fighting of the past days or weeks or whatever the hell has been going on, I felt it was time to have some fun. And the best way to do that is when you can use the healing power of laughter. I haven't even started yet. I made my way back to my neighborhood. If I was lucky, I'd make it on time for Jordan to squeeze me in on the open mic night set list. We'll see if I have that kind of pull, that clout to get me on stage. It's kind of like a drug. You kind of, instead of having to smoke or shoot up, you just kind of gotta walk up there and bare your soul. Let's give it a try. One more time. Hey everyone, good to see you again. So what do y'all think about global warming? So far, I think the only positive we've seen is the fact that people can wear shorts in the middle of winter. It's about the best we can do thus far with global warming. Unfortunately, it's the way it is. Don't let those people who run around acting like they're badass because they wear shorts in the winter. Don't let them trick you. They're not the ones in control. No. The weather's in control. Summer's coming soon. Y'all looking forward to getting your tan? Yeah, some people think they're really important, I don't really care, but I always found it very interesting, just kind of odd how people who view women's tan lines, they're always, ooh, sexy, look at that tan line. But for some reason, men's tan lines, the farmer's tan, the redneck, it's not as appealing, The working man just can't catch a break. I come to realize that the truth is your refrigerator is never running. It was never running to begin with. That joke would never work. Because the truth is, your refrigerator is jogging your place. But no, I'm serious though. Like, what is a sense of humor? Doesn't that imply that you don't really have humor? You just have a sense of it. What the hell good is that? But I was thinking about it recently. If I was going to be put to death, and they said, "Do you have any last words?" What do you say? Pineapple on pizza really wasn't that bad. I don't know what all the fuss was about. And it was at this time that I thought, maybe we're not going to make it. Maybe humanity is running out of time. But I'm grateful that you all made it here tonight. And I don't think life's about if you're late or being on time. All you can do is make the most of your time. Take it slow. You got all the time in the world, Shit. Look at the time, I gotta go. I returned to the bar after my set. My throat was dry from all the talking, the babbling, or whatever. I had fun. "Hey, that was a pretty good set there," a voice from behind me said, one I had never heard before. "But tell me, does it pay well? What about all that ministry work? Are you barely making ends meet?" "Who the hell are you?" I said, "and what business is it of yours?" "My name is Gregory, named from Saint Gregory, the great patron saint of teachers. I've come here to offer you a job. I run a major spiritual school. We need help. With your growing knowledge and good communication skills and writing abilities, I feel you'd make a great teacher. You already met one of our teachers that I've brought in. Her name is Adelaide. She said you were charming, sort of, but that you two could work well together. Well, what do you say, Mr. Forbes?" So Adelaide's part of your outfit, huh? So it's not an ordinary religious school, I take it. No, it isn't. Our students are gifted, and instead of seeing them lost to dark arts sorcerers, we want to teach them safely and properly how to live in the world. Well, Greg, I appreciate the sentiment, but I think I'm alright. I have a good thing going. I mean, it's casual, but maybe I could use a new challenge. I don't know. It's tempting. I'll have to think about it. But I don't know. I've been beaten up a lot lately, and I kind of want to take a break, get some good old R&R action time in there or whatever, Well, Mr. Forbes, we can offer you $100,000 up front. There was a sort of pregnant pause for a moment, but it didn't take me long to think about that. So I thought of the only reasonable response I could find. Oh, well, in that case, when do I start?
Tune in for next week's episode of The Damned Saint. Until then, be true, be you, and be aware. There is no fate but what you create. I am the messenger, the Damned Saint.